Welcome to the International School of Theory and Analysis in Particle Physics. So we are really very excited to have you here, and we hope you will have a very fruitful school altogether. Now I'm inviting Professor Dr. Mithat Uysal, Doğuş Üniversitesi Rector, to make the opening speech.
Thank you. Dear all, I welcome you all to the International School of Theory and Analysis in Particle Physics. It's a great honor and pleasure for us to host you during this event, hoping that we could contribute to the education of tomorrow's physicists. Doğuş University has been involved in particle physics projects since 2005. We participate in the Atlas and CAST experiments at CERN, as well as the national project about the design of the Turkish Accelerator Center in Ankara. Physics is an experimental science. You need facts to form theories, and then theories to lead us to the next generation of experiments. In other words, fact hunters. Particle physics, especially in the context of high energy physics, requires the two very important technological challenges: particle detectors and particle accelerators, which are both fields where we witness the engineers mastering. This I had to state as being an engineer myself, and very much appreciating what you physicists quest for. Although we don't yet have a physics program, we do have a very active physics division heavily involved in research. Our aim is to establish the physics department with programs both at undergraduate and graduate levels and educate tomorrow's physicists like you. I have realized that you have quite a heavy program during these 2 weeks. Try benefiting the most out of this time by working hard and consulting your lecturers as much as possible. I would like to thank all the lecturers who have come here to make this school possible. Good luck and work hard. With my warmest regards, thank you.
So we thank our rector, who has actually supplied us all with the logistic support here, with the classes and meals and coffee breaks and all the facilities that you will have within our university. Now let me introduce myself. I'm Serkant Ali Çetin. I'm from Doğuş University. I'm the vice rector and chair of division of physics, hoping to be a department soon, as our rector has just implied. So I'd like to have a couple of minutes of your time as well. In Doğuş University, we have a physics division consisting of about 10 people. Still, we don't have a program, as our rector has just said, but we are actively involved in 2 experiments at CERN and also in the formation of the Turkish Accelerator Center, together with 10 Turkish universities to be established in Ankara. I have joined this university about 6 years ago, and since then we have formed a quite active group, some of whom have actually passed away in a plane accident in year 2007. Maybe some or most of you might have heard. That was a plane which crashed in Sparta. About 57 people were killed in that accident, and 6 out of these 57 passengers were physicists with whom I used to work. 3 were from Doğuş University and 3 from Boğaziçi University. And the amphi now you're sitting in is named after Professor Şenel Boyda, who was the team leader of our Doğuş University group. Other halls in this corridor, Associate Professor İskender Hikmet and our assistant Mustafa Fidan, named after them. So I would like to ask 1 minute's silence stand in memory of our lost colleagues. Thank you. This is the first facility that is taking place in these halls. This is why it has also another importance for us. We will be together in these 2 weeks. As you might have seen from the program, except for Sunday, you are heavily loaded with lectures, and you will be also loaded with homeworks in the afternoons, at nights maybe, I don't know. This information will be given by Gökhan in further detail after me. I would just like to emphasize some further information about the university. Doğuş University has 5 faculties and 1 vocational school. We have about 4,000 students at the moment. We are going to be using this building. This is H block. For our lectures, this is going to be our main hall. Next week, when we start having parallel sessions, especially divided into 2s or 3s maybe, those who are going to do the computing labs are going to move to block G. So you have in your bags a folder in which you have also the information about the locations. If you have questions, you can ask anytime. Those of us who have the badges in black are either lecturers or organizing committee members. Those of you who have the green are student attendees. So this is -1, floor -1. We have 1 floor down, a study hall, which will be open to all of you during this event. And we have about 10 computers set there. Anytime you can access the computers. And you have to log in with your credentials that are printed at the inside of your folders. If you have seen, there's a sticker that is put there with your username and password, and your username and password are actually degenerate. So besides that, the important thing is the lunches, of course. We will have lunches, again, 1 floor down, just opposite the study hall, there is the restaurant. So we are going to have our meals in the noons there. And today, I have to emphasize, we have a welcome cocktail at 5:30, which will end about an hour or an hour and a half. And on Saturday, we will have the school banquet. It will be, again, in this block at the Terrace restaurant. And we have also this cafeteria at the Terrace, which you might enjoy maybe the view as well, in between the breaks or during the lunch when you have time. We will have coffee breaks of about 15 minutes. The tea and coffee will be served in the ground floor as you have experienced this morning. What else? I think this is all I'm going to tell you at the moment. One final remark is that in the lectures you might have either the PowerPoint presentations together with your lecturers writing on the board. For those who have already a presentation here, we will try to make copies beforehand in the morning to all of you, such that you won't have to take notes of the presentations that you see there. Although we will give you in the end all the electronic copies, we thought it might be useful to have the printed copy so that you can consult your own notes on there. And you will obtain every morning before the lectures copies of those talks in the registration desk that you have actually seen this morning. And for today's lectures, maybe we will have a quite delay, but we will supply them to you as well. So I thank you once again. That okay. Yes, you're on record as well. We will have the podcasting, so all lectures will be recorded, and then they will be available on the web. This you can either download, or we will try to find also a way if we can fit everything in a DVD and send you back after you go to your home institutes. That will be quite useful, but we will still add this to the database, literature database, let's say at CERN or the iTunes lecture database, that you can search and find everything later on as well. So that also makes, I think, more efficient to maybe listen and see the lectures over and over again. Any questions from the hall about the general information that I have given you that I can be of help at the moment? If not, you can consult us anytime. So I now leave the floor to Gökhan Ünel, the person who actually thought of such an event would be useful to many people like you. And I would like to also give my thanks for his efforts.
Thank you, Serkan. Actually, I have prepared a number of slides. If you can please. Yes. Welcome in the meantime. We are happy that you are all here. Some of you I know from previous events, and with some of you eventually we have become colleagues. I hope that will happen to those of you whom I'm meeting for the first time. Yes? Good. Especially for non-Turkish guests, did your arrival was well? Was your arrival all right? Planes and such? Okay, I'm happy to hear that. And where is that student who was asking me about support from the travel from airport to the university? Did you manage? Yes, is that you? Okay, I'm happy that you managed. All right. Maybe not this. It says stop opening. Yes. Yes. Yes. No problem. We have another solution. No problem. Just a sec. Ya şeye ihtiyacım olacak. Kabloya veya Okay. Full screen, please. Okay. So here we are. By now you must be all familiar with the emblem of the school, whom I was watching as a kid from my parents' apartment at night. I hope you will find time to go and see it one of these days. In the next slide is the welcome. Again, for the foreign guests, which are sizable, you should at least learn two words in Turkish. Hoş geldiniz, meaning welcome, and thank you. And teşekkürler, meaning thank you. Hoş geldiniz to all of you, because I know this is your vacation time and you could have been somewhere else in a warm place, in a warmer place, in a sunny place, but you have chosen to be here to study. And we appreciate that. We appreciate your presence. And a big thanks to our sponsors in alphabetical order, CERN, to provide you with some support, and especially with the teachers. To Doğuş University to provide all these facilities, incredibly good logistics, and to TÜBİTAK, which is one of the funding agencies. At the Doğuş University, I should thank especially to Serkant for being the local organizer who took care of basically everything. Without him, this event wouldn't happen. I think you also should thank him for another reason, because in the initial program that I had written, there were no tea breaks, there were no breaks, basically. He insisted on putting some breaks and reducing the lecture hours to 50 minutes, and so he's really thinking about you. Anyway, again, I thank him. Next slide, please. So why this school? Some things in life are just coincidences, and this happened to be one of them. In 2009, we have put together a national school on computing applications in accelerator and particle physics. And a little after that, there was also the national school on theory at Feza Gürsey Institute. Some of the students who participated to both came back and told us that, in fact, these two events were complementary. One of these students was Oktay, and the other one was Deniz. Deniz couldn't be here, but Oktay is sitting at the back and smiling wisely. So he has been to both events, and it was, in a sense, the students' idea to have a merger between the two events, to have both theory and data analysis together. Then later on, we were having dinner with Altu at CERN, and we said, well, we discussed after some dinner and improved water. We said, why don't we have a joint school? It was a just discussion, chat, and then eventually things started to get serious after we started to chat about this with Antonio, who is a colleague from Portugal, Lisbon, and I mentioned this idea to him, and he had this opinion of having the event at an international level. So this is how we come up with this idea. And my conclusion is dinners are good opportunities to think and come up with ideas. And in each page you will find a picture. I'll tell you what it is. This is the Istanbul Archaeology Museum that used to be Imperial Museum of Archaeology at the Ottoman times. I hope you will find time to visit that, although I doubt it, but fine. Please, next slide. So what about ISTAB? Why this school? If you want to start something, and if you want this thing to go on, you have to establish that thing on some sort of a philosophy, some sort of an ideology. The school in 2009 was based on this motto of work, and get used to work by Sezai Bedrettin Tümay, who was the Turkish Pediatrics Association founder and my doctor, actually. When we had a data acquisition school, international again, our motto came from Confucius, said, I do and I understand. That means if you don't get your hands dirty, you will forget. And that was the beginning of his motto. So the culmination so far is work hard and do work. If you don't do it, you will forget. Of course, this year we are inheriting from these two. But on top of it, since this school is a merger, in fact, I was looking for something interesting, and I came up with this thing from Seneca, who said harmony makes small things actually flourish, and disorder makes big things disappear. So harmony. Maybe this year's lectures, this year's school is about both working hard, getting your hands dirty, and working in harmony. I hope we can achieve that. This is also a school of homeworks, meaning what? Each lecturer is going to give you a homework. So that means when the school is over, 5:30, something like that in the afternoon, you will have time to work on these homework exercises. Please do spend time on these exercises. This is important. Remember the motto, I do and I understand. So you will have to get your hands dirty. If you are satisfied only by listening, you will forget. I am guaranteeing you that. You will forget. Do your exercises. The next morning, we are going to go over the exercises in smaller groups, just like we did in previous schools. Maybe groups of 5, since you are 50 students, and we could maybe make 10 groups, and we will see how the exercises of the previous night went. Since we don't know yet who arrived first day, who at least I do not know, I guess we will announce the groups later. And of course, this series of International School of is a school with a closing event. As you know, we will have a data analysis Olympics. The idea here that you would discover a signal and tell us its properties. I hope you can do that. And this little image here is the first peace treaty. Actually, it's in that museum, Kadesh Treaty between Hittites and Egyptians during about minus 1,200, something like that. Next slide, please. So the school plan is, you know, the school is divided into 2 categories. The first week is on theory. Please do learn the basics of calculations, the basics of theory. Although physics and experimental science, as Serkan said, we can't live without theory. And this is the theoretical information that motivates us to go one step further. Please pay attention to that. There is a day, 1 week, 1 day break, and then the second week is about data analysis. We need to know what we are measuring and how we are measuring, what are the weaknesses of the current measurements. Even if you want to be an experimentalist or a theorist, you have to know the current problems to go beyond them. So maybe something that you understand here, I'm saying without actually underlining it, is that look at the current problems and try to see beyond. Try to go beyond what is currently available. Aim high. You understand that? Aim high. Also, in the second week, you will learn about using computers and working with computers. This is important. Today, whether you are an experimentalist or a theoretician, you can't really work without a computer. Whether it is to write a paper or to do a calculation, to do a simulation, you cannot simply do without a computer. This is your tool. So you have to know your tool. You have to make best use of your tool. But again, do not exaggerate. Once in computing, one problem is solved. If you go beyond the solution and try to make it more perfect, I'm afraid you will be crossing the thin line between being a physicist who knows how to do computing and the computer scientist. So if you want to remain as a physicist, be careful about that line. I speak from experience. Week 2, actually we have a surprise here. There will be a parallel session, maybe a set of parallel sessions. John here will be adjusting the details of that. Very few of you will be selected to continue on theory lectures. You might volunteer, but at the end, I think we will be deciding on who does what. Next slide, please. Before you leave, we are going to provide you with a feedback form. Please give us your feedback, your sincere feedback, so that we can improve what we are trying to achieve. This is important for us. I put here some guidelines to make you think. For example, is there enough balance between theory and analysis? What is the quality of lectures? What information we are missing? Size of the groups that we are going to put together, too big, too small, whatever. Think about, even a comment about accommodation facilities, whatever. Also, make sure that you visit the city. It's a beautiful city. There are many things to see. I wish you had time, but at least you should try to do some of these things that are written here and enjoy, like this gentleman here, smiling, but not too much, moderately. Thank you.
So we thank Gökhan also for this magnificent introduction to what you will be experiencing these 2 weeks. So I close the opening session now. We will start with the lectures at 20 to 11. So you have about 10 to 15 minutes either here or outside, but we will start 20 to 11 sharp, so you better be here even 5 minutes earlier. Thank you.